I see Girard as extremely relevant today because, for one, on the question of how to think through the big picture of humanity, where did we come from and how did we get to where we are? Girard offers a way of thinking in a totally evolutionary way, in a scientific way about natural selection and the type of habits that our species got into. Even over the last 2 million years, he says we have to think in that big picture about ever since we became a danger and a threat to ourselves, how did we as a species start to, in a mistaken way, channel and misperceive our violence? And so what he does is he provides a way of thinking about religion in a sort of deep evolutionary sense. He says that in a sort of ironic way, our religious tradition has been right. It is said that humans didn't just invent religion. Religion, in a way, started even before our thoughts and before our cognition. It was a part of our evolutionary framework, but not just in a vague modern sense of humans have a religious impulse. Girard, in a sense, says religion began as soon as proto-humans, early humans, got in the habit of lynching people, of turning their violence into a sort of channeling and a scapegoating process. And that's an extreme answer to the claim that humans just invented their religion. Girard goes deeper on that and says, yeah, we didn't invent it. And in a really dangerous and awful way, religion invented us. And it formed our way of thinking. It formed our way of perceiving what is powerful and not to be questioned, what is divine. And where that sense of the sacred has evolved, that sense of the sacred has evolved into our states and into our sense of the police, to where the sacred now lives through anything that contains human violence. So how do we work with this deep legacy of containing violence in human culture? By containing, Girard meant that human culture has always done and expressed violence, but it's always been doing that in a way that restrains human violence and holds it back. So human culture is this matrix of violence that, in a way, biblical religion has been trying to liberate us from. But how to liberate is so challenging. Jesus tells us forthrightly, he says we need to learn to love unconditionally, to love our enemies, to not resist the evildoer. And that is an extreme challenge in the midst of a culture that restrains violence and holds back evildoers. And in our society today, much of Christianity is so wedded with the state and so wedded with the violence of our military that we can almost not even imagine what it would be like to overcome our propensity for scapegoating in the way that Jesus mentioned and taught, which is to unconditionally love, even unto death. So Girard, what he does is he offers a way of taking those teachings about violence and love and the challenge of overcoming human scapegoating, and offers a large frame picture of how important that is anthropologically. In light of our huge evolutionary picture, he says, this is something that we are really up against some serious forces, both inside of ourselves and in terms of our human community. So Girard offers a way, I think, of thinking about that in a sort of scientific, anthropological, and also a theological way.